Welcome, webheads, to Geek Salad's Road to Infinity War. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And this week, we're almost done. We're winding up pretty soon. And this week, the Road to Infinity War brings us to Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah. It's, wow, we are only about 2.5 weeks away from Infinity War. That's insane.
Yeah. After this, we've got 2 more movies to cover, which, again, seems insane when we started this. And it's like, oh my God, there's so much Iron Man. Ironically, we're getting back to that with this. So, but tonight I do have my Spider-Man shirt on. So.
Oh, yes, as do I. I'm
nice.
Yeah, you get that reference.
Yeah. Old movie. How old is this kid? I don't know. I didn't carbon date him.
He's on the young side. Come on.
So today we are talking about, now one thing we've talked about a lot with the MCU, and one thing I think that they've done an exceedingly good job on, is that I never thought this would happen. I never thought I'd be seeing this in a movie.
I know. Yeah. I mean, when they finally announced, when they announced that Sony Marvel picture dual, combination, and that, I mean, no one thought in a million years that was ever going to happen.
And this is the culmination of it.
Yeah. In the span of one day, we go from, oh, that'll never happen, to, holy crap, Spider-Man's going to be meeting up with Iron Man, Captain America, Ant-Man, the whole group. It's finally happening.
Didn't believe that was going to happen until I saw the trailer for Civil War. Now, I was also really it was very surprising to me how fast they rolled on this movie.
I'm not surprised how fast they rolled on this.
Months.
Yeah,
14 months it took from Civil War to this.
Yeah, but it's also friggin' Spider-Man. I mean,
true.
He has consistently been one of the Marvel's big hitters. I mean, as far as popularity goes. So I'm not surprised they rushed him.
He's their key character. Spider-Man is Marvel's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it's either him or honestly Wolverine.
Yeah, and I'd say Spider-Man, because Spider-Man actually has a longer legacy.
Yeah.
So,
by about a year.
No, Wolverine was introduced in 1975.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm thinking about the X-Men in general.
The actual X-Men, yeah.
Yeah.
Which Wolverine is not originally a part of, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah, a giant size annual #1.
So, as we always do, let's start with what works about this movie.
Well, I mean, let's just go for the big one. Tom Holland. Yeah, Tom Holland as Peter Parker / Spider-Man.
Hands down, the best combination of the two.
Yeah, this was the Spider-Man I've been wanting to see ever since they first announced Spider-Man was going to be a movie.
Right. Now, here's the thing. I never had any problems with Tobey Maguire, either as Peter Parker or Spider-Man. That was kind of the hashtag my Peter Parker.
Yeah, same with me.
Much. But Tom Holland gave me the Peter Parker that I had forgotten that I wanted.
I'll be honest, I didn't even really, as far as Spider-Man goes, I didn't mind Andrew Garfield. I had issues with his Peter Parker.
Yeah.
But as a Spider-Man, I thought he worked. He had the quips. He had the quips done, the jumping around. I don't
know. He just seemed a little bit too New York-y for me.
Well, I mean, he's also British. Well, yeah, actually, so is Tom Holland.
Yeah, that's true. I think Tom Holland just pulls this off better. Yeah, it's because the character of Peter Parker in this movie he's a novice superhero. And you can see, I mean, you're watching it behind me, the high school scene behind me here. What he's good at, what he's comfortable with, what his dynamic is with his classmates, what his strengths and aptitudes are. The debate team scene, it was at the science league team, where that one kid is admonished for using the bell for comedic purposes.
Yeah, I mean, and plus, I mean, he is a science nerd. I mean, he, and when he was introduced in the comics, he was known as in the '60s term a wallflower because
a wallflower, bookworm.
Yeah, because he was always into his studies, always trying to build and invent stuff. And
Yeah,
that's the Peter Parker we got.
Yeah. I thought he was excellent at that. His Spider-Man is fantastic because his Spider-Man just truly wants to do the right things.
Yeah.
And he's not very good at it. And he's learning as he goes. And one of the cool things about this movie is that he's still learning. At the end of the movie, he's still learning.
Yeah, this is Spider-Man year one right here.
Yes, without the origin. You didn't need it.
Well, I am so freaking glad they did not do the origin, because how many times do we need to see Uncle Ben die? I mean,
how many times do we need to see Jonathan and Martha Wayne shot in the alleyway? You know,
I was thinking, I just didn't want to say it because we always bring up the Marvel versus DC, and I want to try and push back from that.
Okay, yeah, we're just pushing back for just a second. But he's so good. He's so charming. He works in so many levels. And that's one thing I really can't wait for with him in Infinity War, is just to see how well he does when he is legitimately brought to the big leagues.
Yeah. When he's got to go out into space.
Right. Well, he's going to fight a celestial deity, essentially, is what he's trying to do.
Yeah. He's got friends, but this is what happened to Tony when he first went through that wormhole and saw he was in another universe?
Yeah, it changed him irrevocably. And that's one of the big things that worked about Iron Man 3 was that. Yeah. What were your thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. in this movie? Does he work or does he not work?
I think he works to a certain extent, but that's also some I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on that when we get to the stuff that didn't quite work for us.
All right. Yeah, that's a good idea. What else worked about this movie was Michael Keaton as Agent Toombs, the Vulture.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially when they throw in that twist, that made my jaw drop.
You could honestly hear audible breathing in the movie theater with that reveal. Yeah. When Peter, and again, this is a spoilerific review, so if you haven't seen it, sorry.
When the door opens and he's standing right there.
Door to take Liz out to the dance, and there he is, because he's dad, and Liz is the kid he's been talking about the entire time. And the beauty is, going back, watching this multiple times, there is no way you saw that coming.
No, that was a reveal, and that was a reveal. It was a shocking moment, but it was a shocking moment that had a beautiful payoff when they're in the car.
Yeah, exactly. And that is just, it's so, just the tension in that scene, especially when he has the gun on him.
Yeah. And when he's just that, when you see him like just putting the pieces together as the more Liz talks, right, and you just see him just is like all the pieces are just falling into place. And you're like, Liz, please shut up, please. Oh no.
Yep.
But I mean, building up to that spot though, this was a villain that, especially with that opening scene, you completely understood why he is doing what he's doing.
Right.
And it's hard to think bad of him because he's just trying to, make ends meet.
Right. He's providing for his family.
He got screwed by Tony Stark.
It's very refreshing to have a main villain that doesn't just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah. And
that completely works with this. It's also good too for Michael Keaton, who has had his career renaissance in the last couple of years, that this has really become one of his crowning achievements. The fact that now he is ranked in the top 5 all-time MCU villains.
Ironically, the thing that started off his career renaissance was Birdman.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, which is just a spoof of Batman. So,
Yeah.
is it your
Sorry.
phone? That's okay.
Yeah.
I silenced mine.
I don't even know what the hell it's doing now.
Oh dear.
That was just weird.
Okay. So, what else works about this movie? I can go over one thing I think really works well about this movie. It's the music. Between Michael Giacchino's score, which also I remember when we saw this in the theater, and when they actually cut to the main crux of the story. So you get the opening thing with Tombs, and then they do the Marvel thing, and then they just start the Spider-Man thing, and they start it with an orchestral version of the '60s Spider-Man theme. And I don't remember exactly what your words were to me, but it was something like, "Oh, this will never fly with fans today."
Well, I mean, if they had anyone else but Michael Giacchino or maybe John Williams do that, I think it would have been not as effective.
Right. I think Michael Giacchino has done a fantastic job, kind of almost, not quite, almost being the house composer for MCU now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly don't know who's doing Infinity War, but Giacchino's done.
I believe it's Silvestri.
Okay, I'll double check that.
The,
So that they can do Age of Ultron.
Yeah, no. Age of Ultron was
it was Danny Elfman and Brian Tyler.
Yeah, that's right. But I think they bring back Silvestri.
Okay, I'm fine with that. He but yeah, and I'll talk. The Giacchino score is just it's really good. It doesn't overwhelm the movie, but the sound score on this is great too. There's a lot of good songs in here. I do like that they do kind of put a nod towards late 70s and early 80s punk and new wave. The 80s dance actually has a reasonably, I don't want to say obscure, because then I'm going to follow the word obscure with hit from Flock of Seagulls called Space Age Love Song. And I was just like, ooh, when I saw that in the movie theater, like,
he really was. I can vouch for that.
Yeah. And I think that really worked too. What else I thought worked about this movie was how they played with the conventions, not only of the MCU, but to the MCU movie audience.
I love the fact that they gave him a guy in the chair.
That was amazing, and I'm going to get into him. He worked as well, but we're going to talk about him separately. There's a lot of cool little bits, and I like the attention to detail that they had in this with, the after school stuff with, the Captain America physical fitness challenge, where not only are they showing this really terrible video, but it's him in that awful Avengers outfit he was wearing. And then once he finishes up and he points to the gym teacher, and the gym teacher's on the other side of him, he's like, yep, that's what Captain America says. I'm pretty sure he's a war criminal now.
I love that Peter just whispers to his buddy, yeah, I stole his shield.
It was really cool. The thing at the end, the stinger at the end of the movie.
Oh, that was one of the funniest stingers in all of Marvel.
I loved that one because that is, again, it astounds me. I mean, we are 18 movies in, and people still get up the second the credits roll.
Well, I just love that one because it was basically Marvel was just trolling everybody. It's like, yeah, we trained you this much, and guess what? Sometimes it's not always worth it. That's on you.
Yeah, there was a lot of trolling in this movie, and I didn't so much mind it. I know a lot of people. We'll just throw out the term diet racism for a minute.
Oh yeah, Flash
Michelle.
Thompson.
Michelle. Michelle was the big one because, first of all, I go by MJ. That's not the real MJ. That's not supposed to be Mary Jane Watson. First of all, her name.
That was an Easter egg, and I actually really liked Zendaya's character. I thought she was like a nice little, smirky, like just always have a sarcastic little thing, but she's got a good heart.
she's a very refreshing addition to the movie. I did like the stuff with Flash Thompson. I do like that he's not the white bread all-American scumbag.
He's just your average, minority scumbag.
He's just a jerk.
Yeah, he is.
Jerk. But another thing that works about this movie, and you brought him up, is Ned Leeds.
Yeah.
There isn't a scene in this movie that Ned just doesn't fucking steal.
Oh, jeez. When he's like sitting in, when he's like trying to help Peter out, he's in the computer lab, and the teacher comes in. It's like, "What are you doing in here?" I'm looking at porn. What else are you gonna say?
Right. But I love too how he handled finding out that his best friend is a superhero.
Well, I take issue with that. Do you know how long it takes to build one of that big Lego Death Star?
Yes.
And he smashes it. What the hell?
Well, you know what? He's just shocked because he just found out his best friend's a superhero.
True.
Just the litany of question after question after question after question after question.
Yeah.
It works really. It really truly works nicely. He steals every scene he's in. He's so much fun to watch, and he could have been an annoyance.
Yeah, absolutely, but not at all.
Yeah,
he was a boon to the movie.
Exactly. That also goes for Marissa Tomei as Aunt May. I like young hot Aunt May. She just it takes away one of the things that was tiresome about the 1960s and 70s Spider-Man comic. Aunt May was always going to be busting a hip or having, her 18,000th heart attack or marrying Dr. Octopus or something like that. There was always something.
Yeah,
I is more self-assured. She's very confident, and she's just looking out for him.
I mean, and plus it makes sense if you've got a 14-year-old Peter, you don't want an 80-year-old Aunt May.
Exactly. I think it worked really, really well.
Yeah.
All right. What didn't work? Or are we doing shades of gray area here? Or are we just saying it doesn't work?
It's more of a shade of gray. It's, and I was thinking about this earlier today because I was like, what? I mean, I know there was something about the movie I didn't really like, but what was it? So it took me a while to think of it, and I finally come up with it. It's not so much I didn't like Tony Stark in the movie. I didn't like Iron Man in the movie. It's more of I thought he seemed like more of an absentee dad than an actual father figure. I mean, he gave Peter his new suit. He got him into this superhero life, and he was like, "Great, I'll talk to you later." And then you don't hear from him for months on end.
Right. Yeah, I can understand that. I know it's Tony Stark. He's a busy man, and poor Happy.
Yeah. I did like Happy in the movie though.
Text bombed. I thought he was okay. What I did like was that there was just enough, because this could have been the cameo that got away from the movie.
I think it was just enough Iron Man. I actually wouldn't have minded just a little, maybe one or two extra scenes with Tony Stark and Peter, just a little bit more building of that relationship. Because I mean, the big scene between them, where right after Tony saves the boat, and that big scene, if you were really here, instead of just, and then he actually comes out of the suit and has that heart to heart. I love that scene, but I would have liked just a little bit more build up to it, just maybe one or two extra scenes, just a little bit more building that relationship.
Right. But, he does deliver one of the best lines in the movie.
Yeah.
And that is, if you don't have the suit.
If you're not enough without the suit, then you shouldn't have it.
Right. Exactly. Sorry, I screwed that up. Yeah, I can. It works. It definitely works. Not my favorite part of it. And I think if I when you do your overall rankings, that might take it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, Liz is an okay character, but she's kind of a drip. She's there.
Yeah, she serves her purpose, and I mean, she's not really much more beyond that. But you don't really need her to be more than that.
Right.
She serves as a love interest for Peter and as a daughter figure for Vulture.
Exactly. And that she's the tie that binds. She's not going to be as far as I'm aware, she's not going to be in a sequel.
Well, I mean, they kind of wrote her character off pretty much.
Yeah, that well. So. Done. All in all, I think this is a fantastic movie, though. This ranks in my number 5 slot.
This one is my number 7.
Okay. Mainly, and this is what I had to kind of do some soul searching on. Again, it's the stuff that works really catapulted to the top, but there are a couple of little things that don't really warrant the immense repeat viewings of this. I mean, I love this movie. I have a great time watching this movie. My wife had a good time watching this movie too, because it's a fun movie, and it's one of these MCU movies where you don't have to know a whole lot about everything. They do a good job of giving you the Civil War introduction without making it be like, well, you know what? If you couldn't be bothered to see that movie, then I can't be bothered to explain what's going on right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was as self-contained as it probably could be, given how he was introduced in Civil War.
Right.
And there's really no glaring problems with this movie. I mean, it's a fun movie. I would absolutely rewatch this one.
It's totally a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes type of movie.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree with that. But it's just there are just for me there are 6 other movies that for me I would rather rewatch before this one. It's not not slayed against this one, just how much I like some of the other movies a little bit better. Just me.
And I say this every week lately. There's not a lot of daylight in between my picks.
No.
So
I mean, honestly, for me, there's not really much daylight in between 1 and 14.
Yeah. And that's where the gap starts. That's when the water starts entering.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
All right. Now, last question. How does this fit to the overall scheme of the MCU?
Very well, because this again, like we talked about with Doctor Strange, this one really, actually, this one, Doctor Strange and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, this one really just is moving the pieces into position for Infinity War.
Exactly. I think they did a good job of not completely needing to move the Infinity Stones story further. Yeah. They didn't need to do that with that. But what they did need to do was let us, the people who've been watching Spider-Man movies since 2002 or reading Spider-Man since you were a child, just let you know, yes, this is part of that entire cinematic universe you've been watching since 2008.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Here's Robert Downey Jr. and here's Chris Evans. And here are shots of everybody fighting in the airport in Germany. And here, let's tie it all together. So now you understand Spider-Man is part of this large picture.
Yeah, exactly. This is the movie to tell you. We introduced Spider-Man in Civil War, but this is telling you this is a fully fleshed out 3D character with sidekicks of his own, but he's still in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's messing around with Iron Man. He's watching Captain American videos. And he will be there when the shit hits the fan.
Exactly. One thing I forgot to mention that I really loved about this movie and I thought really worked well was the suit itself.
Oh, I love how they got Jennifer Connelly to do the voice.
Yeah. I just love the fact that it was a conscious decision to make this like a Stark creation, which it adds an extra wrinkle that I really appreciated about it and didn't take away from the overall character of Spider-Man. We really haven't gotten much in the way of the Spider-Sense yet, but I do love the fact, the 500 different types of web shooting configurations. Interrogation mode is probably my favorite scene in this entire movie.
What about assassination mode?
His eyes go beady and red.
No. I can understand why some people had an issue with the Stark Spider-Man suit, because it kind of I've heard some people say that it kind of took away from the specialness of Spider-Man himself. He made him rely too much on the gadgets.
Yeah.
But for me, that was kind of actually the point.
Right. I mean, you still get to see him without the super suit when it was just the redone hoodie. With nice touch, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Nice little gag about that hoodie, by the way.
Yeah. By the way, I can't believe I forgot to mention this during when we talked about what I loved. The scene when the roof come down on him in that warehouse after where he sees his reflection and he sees that half image of the spider suit, and he has to prove to himself he is Spider-Man. It's not the suit, it is him.
Yep.
I'm getting shivers just thinking about that scene. That is my favorite scene in the entire movie. And honestly, it's one of my favorite scenes in the entire MCU. It is a beautiful scene.
Great character scene. So, all right. So next week, we talk about another great movie.
Yeah.
Next week, we cover Thor Ragnarok.
Possibly one of the funniest movies in the MCU.
Absolutely, we'll get into that later. But if you think that we missed anything about Spider-Man: Homecoming, if you think that we're wrong about some of our points, please feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to like this.
Just try and be civil.
Please be civil, War. Also, don't forget to like this video. Click the subscribe button so you can get all of Geek Salad's video content on this channel. At least one a week, sometimes two. We are very busy men. Yes. So please check that out. Also, check out Mike and my podcast, Geek Salad, at geeksalad.podbean.com. You can check that out either on the Podbean app or at the iTunes store or at the Stitcher app. You can check out all our archives. You can also follow us on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. So until next time, I'm Andy.
And I'm Andy, and I'm Mike.
Go forth, be nerdful, and Excelsior.